So we're going to show you how to take a sample. First of all, you found something great and you want to take about a fist size sample, and it's always better to take a little bit more than a little bit less. This would be too small. And really the actual requirement is 1 kilogram. Remember that what's the most important thing you're going to record about the sample? It's the location. So you're going to record it 3 times. So even though it sounds a little bit excessive, often when something goes wrong in the day, like a bunch of things go wrong, you're always going to use a GPS and record UTM coordinates. So I like to mark the sample, and I like to relabel the sample with the same ID that the sample's going to be given. You've taken your GPS point, you're going to press mark on that, and then you're going to write it in your notebook. So I'm going to say JB 2020-01, and then I'm going to put this UTM coordinate 278-201 easting and 535-8520 northing. So now I've got 2 ways that this has been written down. The third way is that I normally would have my phone on me, but is that you actually, in your picture, and you can come in and show them, you put the GPS right in there. And I'm actually going to put this flag here too. You actually put the flag and the label, and you take a picture of that, and that will have the coordinate here. It'll have the label of the sample, and it'll kind of tell people what the rock looked like later. So every sample as well needs to have its own ID. That's the second most important thing, is that the ID of your sample is consistent in your tag book and your sample bag and your flag and everything. So we're going to do that. I am working for a company right now, so I do have assay tags, and if you want to get these, you can. You can go to an assay lab, or you can buy them sometimes from geological places. And basically you can rip a tag off and you put that in your sample bag. We're going to pretend I don't have assay tags, and I'm going to use just my initials. So you can use your initials. I'm going to say JB, and then the year, which is 2020. And this is the first sample I'm taking like this year, so I'm going to say 01. And if it was, you know, if I took another sample 10 meters over, that would be 02. Every single sample needs its own ID. And the reason is that if you have to come back here because one of these samples assayed a high value in gold, you need to know exactly which one. Was it this one or the one that's 10 meters over? And so you're going to need to have an ID that's consistent. And then you're going to do 2 flagging tapes. So both my flagging tapes have the ID on them. Normally you could have like a piece of paper or something, but I'm going to do a tag for the sample book as well. And because I have this is the best thing I can use. What will happen is that the bag will rub off, the marker will rub off, and then the assay lab won't know which sample this is. So you have a tag in there that's going to be protected from the elements, and you have your 2 flags. And you take 1 flag and you hang it on the nearest tree. You want something fairly substantial that's going to last for several years if possible. So if you pick one of these, they're just going to die soon, and then your flag's going to fall off. So this is, you're hoping if someone needs to find the sample, the general area, that leads them there. And then the other flag, you take sort of a piece of rock similar to your sample, and you wrap it around the rock. So you're actually hiding your label from the sun and from the elements. Make sure the side that was written on gets laid down on the rock away from the sun, and it'll last for like decades if you do it right. So the location and the ID are absolutely essential. When you do your description, a lot of people feel like they have to name the rock, and you don't. You can look at the rock, and I look at it and I'm like, what color is this in general? Well, it's about gray. And then what's a grain size? It's roughly between fine and medium. In geology, we love to give ranges, so you don't have to say precisely what it is. I could also say that it's mafic. Mafic is dark, felsic is light. So that's it. You've got your location, your label, and then you're gonna put the rock together and get your tag in there. And then you're gonna take a zip tie. If you don't have zip ties, just use a piece of flagging tape. And then you close that up so it doesn't contaminate your other samples in case a little piece fell out into your other samples. And then you just zip that up and put it in your bag and you're good to go. Sample done.